Hey, this is Joel Oney at J Money in the heart of the Buckeye State, and I want to personally welcome you to today's episode of the Steel Kings podcast with my good friends Jared Ledford and Eric Olson, better known as the Steel Kings. Be sure to check out jmoneyllc.com for financing solutions for your buildings. And now let's get back to the Steel Kings podcast.
What I'll tell you, dude, is I am beyond excited. I am Jared Ledford. It is time to get motivated about your business. It's time for some personal development. It's time to get out and shake and howdy with people. I can tell you, man, the Steel Kings are. Dude, we have been busy.
One thing, I mean, if I could say one statement about the Shed Show is that people need direct help from on-market questions.
I'm Jared. He's Eric. We are the Steel Get out in your communities, everybody, and do something good for somebody else. It'll make you feel better.
Man, that intro gets me hyped.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jared, and he's Eric. We are the Steel Kings. Welcome back to another episode with us, and we are on episode number 43 total, but more importantly, episode number 2 of our featured series on the NFBA, heading to the NFBA Trade Expo, February the 25th through the 27th, 2026. I've got my invitation here. I want you guys to check that out. NFBA, National Frame Builders Association Conference and Expo, Oklahoma City. We're going to be there. As always, we are sponsored by the team over at Defined SEO and Cal and Idea Room and Velocity 360, J Money. We've got the whole team. Eric, my brother, what's going on, dude? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, bro. That intro gets me hyped up.
I'll tell you what, man. We are in a new year. It's 2026, and we are super excited to be working with you guys on your projects and your business going into this new year. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually have we're going to have a podcast guest on with us. So all pun intended here. This guy has his own podcast, Eric. Are you excited?
So at the Rollform show in Dayton, he was doing a vertical right deck, and I thought in my mind, and I'm just saying it, he has the most radio voice of all time. It's one of the most. I used to listen to the WLW 700 Reds cast, and you could sleep. You could just listen to him talk about anything forever. The guy's a wealth of knowledge.
Smooth as silk.
He is just smooth
as silk.
Yeah, like on the Bible app, it should just have a Randy Chaffee voiceover, so you can just listen to it.
So you broke the ice. We've got Randy Chaffee here. He is the owner and CEO of Source One Marketing. He has the Building Wins podcast. He is a Amazon best-selling author. His new book, Asphalts and Algorithms, a Road Warrior's Playbook for Winning in Sales, has been a hot piece in our industry. I can tell you, man, I'm super excited to have him. We're going to bring him in, and let's see. Randy, what's up, dude? He's muted.
Okay, there. Just after you talked about the pro that I am. A real pro. Yeah, that's it right there. I wanted to, you made me sound so good that I needed to, bring it back to earth just a little.
You were hyping yourself up. You were hyping yourself up so much. I could see him getting excited and smiling down there. I've got a preview screen. So today's behind the curtain. When I'm looking at the screen here, I can see Eric and myself. I can see Randy waiting in the studio to come into the next level. And Randy's just sitting there like, man, he's got a big cheesy grin on his face. He's like, man, I can't wait to get in here with these guys.
I know. I'm saying quit talking so I can get on.
I can tell you, this guy is connected in the post frame industry. If you're hearing my voice and you see Randy, he is one of the nicest guys in any room that he's in. I promise you. He will literally talk to you. Don't hesitate to walk up to him. He wants to tell you all about what he does, all about the industry, NFBA, you name it. Randy, give us the 30-second synopsis on you, brother, from your straight from you.
You touched on it. Eric hit it right off the get-go. I love the voice compliment. Thank you, which is a nice and kind way of saying I have a face made for radio. So thank you for that. But anyway, no, you hit it pretty well. I've got 5 decades now. I used to say, and some of my banders still say 4+ decades in this industry, and that's only because I have a little vanity and I didn't want to sound quite so old. But the reality is I've been doing this forever in this industry.
Yep.
And the bottom line is I'm a rep agency. We rep manufacturers in the metal roofing and post frame and steel building world, wandering a little bit into the steep slope world as well, which means I got to learn something again now, but that's okay. And I'm an old school road warrior, man. I mean, I grew up on the road. I built cut my teeth and got the juice from the road. Loved it. Made a big transformation in the last 5 years. Not away from the road, but addition to the road. And that's why I wrote the book. Thank you for talking about it. Oops, get the right camera angle there.
Yeah, there you
go. I found out that there's a hybrid way of doing this thing. You know, we went into COVID and there was all this, can't go anywhere. We're stuck. And what do I do? How do I get with customers? How do I get customer friends? How do I get with new customers? And started doing all this stuff, you know, reaching out, virtual video, podcasting, guesting and hosting, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden there's this, we're back to normal, but are we really back to normal, right? There's a force multiplier effect to doing stuff we're doing here today, right? We'll reach thousands in a 30-minute deal, or I can go on the road today and catch up with 3 people plus a few more phone calls, right? So it's just a force multiplying effect. So that's what I've been doing, you know, just living the life of the industry and trying to give back. You know, you'd mentioned this series is on the NFBA and what's coming up, and I'm blessed to have served on the board of directors for several years now. And the big reason for doing it, and I'll leave it with this, is you got to live in your industry, not just off your industry. And I think if you're blessed to have lived a long life in an industry, whatever that is, you need to give back. You need to be involved, because I don't do it to get anything back, but I can tell you I get 1,000-fold back.
Yeah.
Right? Just give. That's key. So that's what I've been doing forever. Been married, kids, grandkids, you know, the whole thing, but who cares, right?
No, I think that all that's important, but I think you touched on something that I want you to hit on it more, because I think that this is where, specifically in post frame, there is this authenticity with most post frame guys. There is an authentic level that's different than shed guys, different than steel building guys. Post frame guys know their lane, they stick to it, and most of them that I know do it particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly what to do, where they can do it, and they don't miss. So what you're doing is you're taking that traditional relationship of the road, face-to-face communications, trade shows, and now you are being tech forward. You are mastering digital visibility. That's what I love about you, because I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say the Steel Kings looks to building wins, right? You've been doing this longer than us. Wow. We look at the way that you do your podcast. It's extremely impressive. You've had me on there, and I think that that's one thing I love about you the most, is that you're pulling us with you, right? You want the whole industry to do better, and we talk about that. Man, we probably mentioned that on every other episode, if not every episode, at least once. Our goal here is that a rising tide raises all boats.
Exactly.
We want everyone in the industry to win. And I mean, how better can you, building wins, right? Yes. I mean, to me, I just love that about you. And I want to say that at the top. I want to appreciate and thank you for that. Well, because you've been an advocate for me, and we don't know each other that well, right? I mean, we're acquaintances, right? But we've shared a couple of phone calls, we've hung out a couple of times, and I appreciate that from you. And that genuineness is what really, I think, gives you that. There's a genuineness. There is an authenticness to Randy. Fair?
Well, I think that's fair, and I think that's something that I love that point. And thank you, by the way, and I will return the compliment, because I mean it. I don't. Once you get to know me, I don't throw compliments out unless I mean them. I just sidestep them, because I think again, being authentic, right? That's not very authentic to just blow smoke at people.
Yeah,
I love what you guys are doing. The Eric hit on it. The intro. Wow. I mean, like I said, I was so excited I couldn't get off of mute. I was so excited. It's like quit playing the music. I got to get on. I got to get in on this thing, right? Yeah. But I think authentic in anything is important, because I believe that, you know, there's 8.5 billion people plus or minus on this crazy planet, right? Yep. And if you can, everybody that deals with you, if you're being a brand ambassador for yourself, right, and you make yourself the brand, here's the deal with that. Not the problem. Here's the deal. Nobody can beat you at that. because there is nobody better. And I did a couple videos a while back, which I do some things just because they're fun to do. Sometimes it just strikes me and I do it because it's fun. But I come out with a cup of coffee. I said, announcement. I am number one in the world, 8.5 billion people, and I am number one, the best. That being me, right? And the key to that, I think, to everybody is it's the same with everybody. And as builders, don't try to be what you're not, be what you are, because you do it better than anybody. And just tell that story, because the authenticity, again, people aren't buying a pile of sticks and a bunch of trusses and some screws and some metal and some couple doors and a window or two. That's not what they're buying. They're buying the end project that they can live with and be comfortable with forever. And and they're going to feel they want to buy. You know, we talked about it earlier. I mean, we've mentioned this before and we've been together. But you know, the old saying, people buy whom they know, like, and trust. Right.
Yep.
And my really good friend and blessed to have in my life, Ben Gay III. He's added a fourth one. People buy who they know, like, trust, and feel safe with. Yep. And nothing out there outside of what we're doing right here, doing social media, being at shows, doing talks, will develop an image. I feel safe with this guy. I like him. I get to know him a little bit. I sort of trust him because he's never steered me the wrong way. But the real key is when all goes bad, which it could in anything.
Yep.
Do I feel safe that this dude or dudette, if that's the right word, are they going to take care of me? Right. And I think that's what you have as a builder more than anything else, because anybody can put a package of stuff together, right? And get it out to you. I mean, that's not that hard, right? You know, you guys are pros at it. It's the stuff that you do behind the scenes, right? That makes a difference. So
that's right. We try to do that here. You know, obviously Eric and I own Dayton Barns and Five Rivers Pole Barns, and we've got our hands kind of in all of these different avenues. And I think there's a huge difference, right? So Dayton Barns sells pole barn kits, and we do some full builds for Five Rivers and stuff like that. But there's a huge difference between buying a building kit. Let's just use a post frame building kit from X dealer, doesn't matter who they are, what they're about, versus buying from someone, let's say Graber Post, right? Directly from Graber Post. People buy from people they like, trust, and feel safe with, right?
Correct.
You can't feel safer than when you see like the Graber Post logo. They have built an industry on being safe.
Exactly.
And they're like right out there. So I mean, compare the two, right? Compare a company like Five Rivers Pole Barns versus a company like Graber Post that's been in business for numbers of multiples over top of Five Rivers Pole Barns. But what we love about that relationship is we get to ride with that credibility, right? So picking the right manufacturing partner in this space, picking the right teammate. And again, if you're not going to Oklahoma City, February the 25th through the 27th, and you're in the post frame industry, what are you doing with your time? Because that's where you're going to come and meet people like us, meet people like Randy, see people from Graber, see people from Idea Room, see people from all these different partners that can help take your business to the next level. Because again, the reason we're doing this is because Eric and I see the value in being aligned with a trade association like the NFBA. What have you seen? So Randy, you've been around almost as long as the NFBA specifically. I know the NFBA has had some different things over the years, but what do you see as the major advantage of working with the trade association?
Great question, Jared. And I'll tell you, associations do so much for the industry, and probably the biggest thing is there are power in numbers, whether it comes from legislative, from code compliance, from safety. No individual builder has an ability to do the things that an association can do. They represent us in Columbus. They represent us in Indianapolis, in Lansing, Michigan, the state capitals around the country, right?
That's right.
They represent us in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
But the other thing that it does is it creates a community where like-minded people can get together, can talk, can network, can discuss, and really, I've found with this industry, and that's one of the things I think we promote very well at the NFBA, is we're all in this big fun. We're on this big fun ship together, right? Yeah. And you said, high tides raise all ships. I think we're doing a lot of things with the association from an educational standpoint,
Yep.
in the building of the year standpoint. But the education is huge because we don't want anybody to fail in this industry, because we want every barn that gets built, and I think every builder should feel this way. And I, as a supplier, feel this way. I sell fasteners. I don't want my competitor's fastener to fail, because that plays bad on the whole industry, right?
That's right.
A builder shouldn't want a competitor's building to fail or not meet all expectations. If you opted to go with builder A instead of me, great, good luck. If you get in trouble, holler. I'm here for you. Just glad and hope you get a great building. Because if you don't operate that way, one bad building, all of a sudden that puts a bad taint on the world, a stain on the world of post frame buildings.
That's right.
So we need to rise together, and I think that's one thing that maybe goes against the grain of some very independent thinkers. But
Sure.
I think it's something that I think we as an association, I think, do a pretty good job of bringing people together in the seminars and the webinars and all the things that we do. Just being on the show floor and meeting people like yourselves, meeting the suppliers. This is a huge opportunity to build those networks. I know a real quick story. I know some good friends of mine from Michigan, known forever, and they used to come to that was one of the major reasons they came to the trade show every year.
Yeah.
Was to meet up with some builder friends of theirs from New Jersey that they'd met. And they just can bounce ideas all year off of each other. They see each other once a year for 3 days of breaking bread and a Dr. Pepper or two here and there. And but it developed this relationship that lasts forever. So I think that's the really key to associations. So again, you support them, because without them, there's no cohesiveness to what we do. We're a bunch of renegades out doing our thing. That's not to say, guys, that you don't run your own independent business and do what you do and compete hard. That's all part of the business.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, let's all win in this thing together. And that's where an association, I think, can bring that together. And we also do that by supporting and helping the chapters, because we do have chapters that, for example, I'm on the board of the Buckeye Frame Builders as well, which is a local Ohio chapter, which you guys should come to this year at the show, January 9th in Ashland University.
Okay.
But at least, if nothing else, come over and say hey and hang out for the day.
Yeah.
But I think the more and more and more of that stuff that we do together as a group, it just fosters the growth of the industry. And what's exciting is this industry has been around forever. You mentioned I was in it not quite when there's round poles, so let's not get crazy, guys, but close. And but I was around when there's only galvanized steel and neoprene nails, right, and no overhang, no gable. I mean, it was pretty basic in the day. We're still in the infancy again, because we just are gone from I wrote an article once in one of the magazines, and I titled it "Not Your Father's Pole Barn." And I keyed that off of the old "Not Your Father's Oldsmobile," if you remember those commercials back. And the whole idea is, my God, man, we've changed. It's not just a backyard. I don't want to use this word, but I will, quote, throwaway barn, cheap backyard barn. It can be that.
Yep.
But it's also a strip mall in a local small town. It's an industrial building. It's a commercial. It's a horse barn project. It's a barn dominium, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we got a long ways to go right now. The future is bright. So
I think that piece right there, what you just said, is where I get really super excited. You said so much there, and I want to dissect it piece by piece. So one thing that the NFBA does specifically is they have education and curriculum specifically for manufacturers and dealers. So number one, if you check out nfba.org, you can check out those curriculum options and get certified. They actually have a certification program through NFBA where they want to teach you how to do things the right way. And the other thing I want to touch on too, and maybe you can comment on this too, Randy, because you know a lot about steel buildings. You know a lot about the industry of steel buildings too. What I will tell you is look at the contrasted difference between the accepted principles in both of those industries. Look at how much different it is when you talk about a post frame pole barn versus a tubular steel, galvanized steel tube building. There is a huge discrepancy, and I'm going to just call it out there. And I've said this before, there needs to be a trade association for steel buildings. The NFBA has helped rise the credibility of the post frame industry. Just like Randy says, they're going and they're talking to legislators. They're talking to people at state capitals. They're getting things passed through legislation that make it easier for us in this industry to put up a pole barn with very little impact from the government.
Right.
Steel buildings don't have that benefit. That is a absolute fact. We deal with it every day at Dayton Barnes. I got an issue with zoning. I got an issue with getting a permit. I got an issue with this. They want me to put up a pole barn. They have basically taken over the zoning departments all across the United States to say it's okay for a pole barn. It's not okay for a steel building.
Mhm.
I have never had an issue getting a pole barn installed. The only issue you ever run into is setbacks and things like that. I can't put the building exactly where I want it.
Not where building is.
Yeah,
It's
can't
not
put
about
a
the
building, can't put a building on a leach bed, right? Can't put a building 3 feet away from the road, stuff like that. But it never comes down to, oh, well, what kind of building materials are you using? You know, like it does with a steel building.
Mhm.
You know, with random generics from 10 years ago that probably aren't stamped in the states that they're good for. I mean, you laugh because it's the truth.
It is
And
the
I
truth.
can tell and I can tell you, I don't shy away from calling it out for what it is. I love tubular steel buildings. I think there's a huge place in our economy in this world for tubular steel metal buildings. They serve a purpose, right?
Mhm.
But pole barns are totally different. And like you said, not your
different
father's pole
customers.
barn. Yeah, different customers, different end results.
Seems like a lot of people know things about pole barns. Steel building seems a little confusing still for a lot of people. Or more education wise.
I don't want my building made out of a chain link fence. I had a customer tell me that once. The material that you guys use on your steel buildings is the same material that you have for a fence. And I said, well, it's not the exact same. It's the same concept, right? But we're dealing with tubular steel at this point, right?
Yep.
So I think for me, I have really enjoyed getting into the post frame space because I feel like it's legitimized us to a totally different level.
Mhm.
From a business, if you're on this podcast listening to us and you're selling sheds or you're selling steel buildings, I would really, really encourage you to take a look at pole barns. Whether it be pole barn kits, whether it be full-on installs, you have to start somewhere and take the next step in your progression of building sales, right? Because we all know that when you're on a shed lot and all you do is sell sheds, there's a grind process there that has to happen every single day, every single minute, hour, whether you're on Facebook Marketplace or you have a website, you have to hustle. Then you add a different product line. You do play sets or you do hunting blinds or you do whatever it is, and you might get 1 or 2% increase on your revenue year over year with an additional product line. Steel buildings are a totally different animal of their own. Revenue can be doubled if it's done the right way, depending on what your sales volume is for sheds. But pole barns now gives you an additional vertical to really consider having what I would consider the 3 legs of the tripod: sheds, steel buildings, and pole barns. Now you don't have any excuse. And I'm leaving out the red iron, guys. I know if you sell red iron, that's fine. Red iron is the next step, in my opinion. You can't master red iron without mastering post frame first. And I can tell you, I mean, Randy, you've been doing this a heck of a lot longer than me. I gave you my 90-second snippet right there. What do you think of that?
Well, no, I think you're spot on, and it is a progression because red iron's that's another discussion. That's a discussion for a whole nother day, really. Right? We could do 3 hours on that, right?
That's exactly right.
And it's a great place to be. It's a great industry.
You ain't kidding.
But I think what you said is so spot on, Jared. Is that there's a place for the tubular, but its place is its place. With post frame, there's in today's world, with all the engineering that's available, all the engineering that's been done, all the code work that's been done by associations like the NFBA, the manufacturers that step up, there's almost, and I'm going to have to say almost because there's probably some place I'm not thinking about, but almost no place that you can't use post-frame construction at this point, whether it's industrial, commercial. Now, there's some limitations. If you want to build this gigantic manufacturing complex is 600 foot wide and 9,000 miles long, you probably there's probably some limitations, right? Yes, but with that said, for what the average builder out there wants to do in small town USA and living a great life, man, post frame buildings offers you such an advanced opportunity. And it doesn't have to be like with a lot of things. Too many times we get wrapped up in instead ofs, and I don't think it's an instead of, it's an addition to. We're not saying don't do tubular steel by any means if that's what they're doing. Just use that and use them for the force multiplier effect of you're in buildings, you understand building concept, you understand talking about buildings, you understand what customers want, but let's take the limitations of what you can do here and make the next logical step. And the good thing with post frame, last thing I'll say on this, I think, is there's so many options. There's so many opportunities. You don't have to go from I'm doing this. All I'm really good at right now or accustomed to is a smaller tubular steel barn. That doesn't mean you got to go into a $2.5 million horse stables overnight. Just start doing some backyard buildings and put a porch on it and put a little wainscoting on it and put a couple of dormers. You can start with that, and then you grow and you get experience. So you can grow as far as you want to grow with it, and it can be done incrementally, so you don't get yourself in trouble.
That's right. Eric, you got something, man. You look like you're.
I just keep thinking of the transition here. Like, Randy, our audience right now predominantly, well, until after this eight Mondays plus the show, is predominantly shed and metal building dealers and manufacturers. That's right. So I think what we're really saying is it's not as scary and you can do both, and you can learn things because doing hard things is good for you.
Yes.
And it's using a builder that you've already used, and it's just pricing a different. And one thing that I would say is that there is a blend of okay, if they want a smaller building, great. That's probably a carport. You're going to save money by spending $3,000 on a carport. Great.
That's right.
But then there's a middle section of, and I'm thinking of the two customers we sold earlier that did pole barns. They were literally metal building quotes that I turned into pole barn. Well, full-blown concrete packages. And so if that wasn't an option for them, they might have bought somewhere else. So it wasn't picking one or two. It was Dayton Barnes providing the customer with what the person wanted.
That was
because it was just the knowledge I had. So, if you're a dealer, and I don't know why I'm giving you this pro tip right now. If you're a dealer and you sell metal buildings and a person walks in and they say, I'm looking for a pole barn, don't say no. Call us. Call Jared. Call Eric. And
I can tell you.
We'll broker it for you. We'll figure it out. And if it's something that you're interested in, guys, I'll spend time with you.
I can tell you this
100%.
right now. We left deals on the table. Nothing makes me
shot ourselves in the foot.
Nothing makes me feel a sort of way quite like leaving a deal on the table. When you've come to bat and you've gone through the process, you've harvested the lead, you've sourced that lead, and you've gone at it. And you've got all the customers' information, you've done the 3D design, you've got them in closed mode, and they're ready to buy. And the last thing that comes out of their mouth is, "Oh, well, I thought I was getting a pole barn." We do a lot of 3D configurators with Idea Room, who we love. So we get on Google Meets and Zooms with customers across the United States. We go through the building, we do the whole mock-up, we do the whole thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a customer tell me, "Well, isn't it built out of wood?" And it's like, no. It's not. It's tubular steel. We're all steel built. Dayton Barnes and all steel buildings. That's who we are. And sometimes you overcome it. I would say 80% of the time you overcome it. Right. And it's those 20% that cost you. And what it was our partner at Five Rivers, Caleb. Go back and listen to the GCM episode. We talk about it at length. But we had a huge building, right? Huge building. And I was uncomfortable. I'm the honest sales guy. When he started talking about the size and scale and some of the custom stuff he wanted to do and living quarters, like if you're selling steel buildings as barn dominiums, stop it. Yeah. Stop it. You're going to get into trouble. Just stop it. If you have somebody that wants to build like a makeshift living quarters in their backyard, and they want to finish it out themselves, not a big deal. They can do that. But if we're talking full on barn dominium, as people like to call them, don't sell them a steel chassis building. do yourself a huge favor and get away from it immediately. So I did myself a favor. I walked away from that project. Caleb, who was working on it with me, came alongside, ended up doing the gentleman's concrete. So I got a little bit of a give back from Caleb, and the customer was happy. But at the end of the day, we lost out on a huge project that we could have done together if I had had the right partner. And luckily enough, I had met Tim Fox at Graver, and Tim had already come to Dayton Barnes and said, hey, I really want you guys to sell with us. I think you guys would be great. Dayton Barnes at the time was not seeing it the way that we see it now. We were not going to be kit suppliers to the United States of America. We did not want to sell pole barn kits. It's just not our – if we have a lane and we stay in it, that's great. Now we have this lane with Five Rivers where we can sell kits and sell fully finished projects. And what I will tell you is take your time and don't jump in head first all the time, because we waited a year and it paid off dividends for us. It absolutely made all the difference in the world that we didn't make an unthought through decision. We really took the decisive decision to say no. And it's okay to say no. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Trust me. And Eric will tell you, I was the one that wanted it. And the two partners, Eric and another one at the time, said no. And they were right and I was wrong. And looking back on it, I was still right in theory. It just wasn't the right time.
Right.
So what I can tell you is don't miss out on an opportunity in this specific space if that's something you're really interested in. Any of us, Randy, Eric, myself, we're happy to walk you through it. Randy,
absolutely,
you had something, man.
I did. Yeah, I loved your comment there because you talked about lanes. And I think lanes are important. You need to stay in your lane, but that doesn't mean that's point in time.
That's right.
And that's the point. Don't look at this as my lane forever, because the 2-lane highway at some point branches into 4 lanes when it gets into the city, right? So it's the same thing. But don't try to operate on a 4-lane highway on a 2-lane highway. So stay in your lane.
That's right.
If that makes sense today, but be broad enough thinking that maybe I'm not ready to do this next week, and maybe I need to turn this one over to somebody, because don't try to handle something. I think that was your double point there. Don't try to handle something you're not ready for.
That's right.
Because you're going to do yourself, your reputation, and your customer a disservice.
That's right.
Give it away if you need to.
That's right.
But think about it and go, you know what? I don't like that feeling of giving it away. So maybe I need to figure out how do I get into that lane and be ready for that lane. But don't do it until you're ready. But at the same token, I've always lived this way. Sometimes it's been good, sometimes not. But I have a tendency to climb to the 84th floor and jump off and figure out how to fly on the way down.
Sure.
Now, when I say that sometimes just jokingly, but I always try to put a caveat into that. At some point, I figured out I might need some sort of wing apparatus before I go do that, right? Before, so don't just dive off and hope. My arms are probably not going to do it. But, but the same token, I think the principle's there. If you don't ever try, there's always going to be that. If you're not in the post-frame world now, and you decide you need to be, you decide you want to be, you do the study and you do the work, you get hooked up with people like you guys, you do whatever you need to do. But here's the deal. And I'll put it this way. You're a young guy at 14, 13, 14, 15. You kind of like girls. You kind of been, rooting around and watching this girl high school or in junior high. You think you want to give her a little smoocher on the cheek. But guess what? At some point, you just got to do it, right?
Right.
You just got to do it. And you know what's going to be the scariest moment ever? You might get slapped. It might be awful. But guess what? The next time around, it's not going to be quite as difficult, right? So I think it's the same thing when it comes to this. At some point, step out of the lane now, but not till you're ready. And that's, I think, the point you made so well, Jared, is because I think too many people, well, that's not for me. I can never do pole barn. I don't want to ever do that. I don't want to do red iron. I don't want it.
We said that. We said that. I mean, that came out of our mouths. That came out of our mouths 36 months ago at this point. Yeah. 3 years ago, we were not ready to take that step. We went beyond.
That guy would have bought a pole. He would have bought a pole barn for us. It was $100,000.
He would have bought a pole. Well, Caleb. I mean, Caleb. All the credit in the world to Caleb.
He tried to get us to do it, and we were he did. I don't know, bro.
Caleb to his credit, gets a lot of the favor here from me, because he drove us into this lane.
Right.
And then people like you, Randy, and people like the folks at Graber, right? And all these people that we've met along the way have really made it feel like home to the Steel Kings, home to Dayton Barnes, and building a business like Five Rivers and getting installed projects done and really seeing them come to life. And it's like, wow, this really is a different end product. I would encourage you guys, we're out of time,
Yep.
but we will tell you this. Get to NFBA conference in Oklahoma City, February the 25th through the 27th. It's at the Expo Center. There is going to be plenty of activities. Oklahoma City is a beautiful, conservative community. There's a lot to do there. If you're looking for a trip to make in February, I would really encourage you to come. There's going to be a lot of like-minded people there that want to help you with your business. Suppliers, manufacturers, the whole bit is right there for you at the NFBA conference. I can tell you we are super duper excited. Randy, do you have any last words, any parting words for the Steel Kings, any parting words for the audience?
All I would say is people, they need to seriously watch what you guys are doing, pay attention to what you guys are doing, because you're on the right path, you're doing it right. And so folks, if you watch Steel Kings at all, watch these guys, listen to these guys, and pay attention and work with you, because you need to work and put yourself with pros that know what they're doing from a marketing standpoint, an advertising standpoint, package put together standpoint, and you guys are it. NFBA, couldn't agree more. Be there the 25th, 27th. I've never been to Oklahoma City. I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
but
I'm
more
super
excited
stoked.
is we have so many webinars, or I should say seminars, so many great speakers and talks, events. And last one I'll throw out, we didn't talk about, but I'm doing some work with them right now. The women in post frame, some of the folks, the ladies out there in the audience, in the industry, man, we love you and support you, and we are incredibly female friendly, if that's the right word. We love the contribution, and there's a whole group that meets. I think there's 50, 60 women that are going to meet in Oklahoma City from the industry. Get involved with that too. There's some really good stuff. So look forward to seeing you all there, and it's gonna be a great time, man.
We are super duper excited. February 25th through the 27th, NFBA conference, Oklahoma City. Eric, last word, brother.
Man, they only have 2 more booth spaces left. So if you're a vendor and you want to go, make sure you sign up.
Check out the team, nfba.org. As always, Defined SEO, Velocity 360, Idea Room, Cal, J Money, the whole team. We are the Steel Kings, ladies and gentlemen, and we appreciate you. Get out in your community and do something good for somebody else. It'll make you feel good. I promise you. I promise you. And we will be back at you next week with episode 3 of this series, and back at you.
Pole Barnes.
Talk to you guys later. Jared, Eric, and Randy are out. Peace out, guys. Steel Nation, thank you for tuning in to the Steel Kings podcast. If that episode fired you up, make sure you hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who is ready to level up. We drop powerful episodes every week filled with strategies, stories, and real talk from the builders shaping the industry. Stay hungry, stay focused, and keep building stronger. Make sure to visit us at thesteelkings.com for more resources and industry tools. This is the Steel Kings podcast, where the industry talks back. See you in the next one.
Before you go, the J Money team wants to thank you for listening to today's Steel Kings podcast. Remember, money is king, and if you need a financing option on your portable wood sheds or steel buildings, we are here to help. Just check us out at jmoneyllc.com for more information, and don't forget to catch the next episode of the Steel Kings podcast, and have a great day.